At this time, I would like to introduce the senior class president, Shay Roepke.
Unfortunately, I'm Shay Roepke. I'm really nervous, so I'm going to mess the speech up, but I talked to a couple people in the hallway, and you guys are probably the most supportive people I could give a speech to. So a round of applause for you. Yay! My parents didn't really know I was giving the speech today, so surprise! Hey! Before I get to the meat and potatoes of the speech, I want to say a couple words about Mr. Robert Shipley. Would you stand up, please? Mr. Shipley is probably, out of all the people in this room, the most excited to leave. I don't know if all of you know this, but it's his last year and he's retiring after this. I wanted to insert a bald joke here, but Mrs. Trussman wouldn't let me. So imagine I said one and it was funny. No, but he's a really good guy. He just kind of got mixed up with the wrong crowd. No, but he's the best principal we could probably ask for, and we really appreciate everything you've done for us. Now for the meat and potatoes. It seems like only yesterday I was at Sunman Elementary on the playground, and we would tell secrets and pass notes and then give pinky promises that we probably would never keep, and we'd tell each other that we'd be friends forever and nothing would come between us. But the thing about a pinky promise is nothing's actually making that person keep their promise. And now we're graduating. And we're all going our separate ways, and you're going to try to hold on to people and say you're going to stay in touch, but you can't hold on to everyone. Megan McCafferty once said, even with the best intentions, growing apart might just be an inevitable part of growing up. Let me take a second to talk about the most important person in my life, Betty Roepke, Grandma Roepke to some. A lot of you might think you have the sweetest grandma in the entire world, but you don't. That position is filled. Also probably one of the smartest people I've ever met. Okay, smart's kind of like a fluid term here. It's more like wisdom through experience. She can't tell you the digits of pi, but she can bake a great one. So, I think we could all take a page from her book because she taught me some of life's most important lessons. One of my favorites is that if you don't know what's going on, you can pretty much just smile and get out of any situation. And I see some of you are doing that right now. Another very important one is when beheading a chicken, do not let go of the body once the head comes off. I can't stress that enough. And my favorite is probably, there is never a reason to be sad. And if you look hard enough, there is always a positive. Very like a glass half full kind of thing. And I think she really demonstrated that this past year. She got a little sick, and it didn't matter how she felt. Whenever we walked into her hospital room, instantly it was just the biggest smile she could manage. So she's also one of the strongest people I've ever met, because we knew she was in pain, and she would push through all that. And she looked me in the eyes, and she pinky promised she wasn't going anywhere, and she was going to fight it. But the thing about a pinky promise is there's nothing actually holding that person to keep their promise. And a lot of times there's nothing they can do about it. At the funeral, I was overcome by emotions I didn't know I was allowed to feel. I was angry, and I didn't know why she had gone. It was hard for me to accept that someone I'd been so close to could be gone just like that, especially after everything we'd been through. And we had plans. She was supposed to go to my show, and we were supposed to go to the aquarium together. She was supposed to be here. It took me a long time, but I finally realized that it was actually very selfish of me to try to get her to stay and try to make her promise anything, because she's on the bigger and better things. And who am I to stop her? I don't know if you know this, but you and me and all of our classmates have so much potential. We can do whatever we want, and we have the ability to soar. And you might lose some people in your life, but that's okay, because they're soaring too. They're just soaring in their own direction on to bigger and better things. Ali Condi once said, "Growing apart doesn't change the fact that for a long time we grew side by side, and our roots will always be tangled, and I'm glad for that." So when I was trying to write this speech, Mrs. Trussman said, "A lot of speeches focus on the past and who we used to be, and a lot more speeches focus on the future and who we could be. But I think we should focus on the right now, because you're never going to be who you used to be. And at this moment, you're never going to be this person you are right now at any other time of your life. This is our day. It's our time now. We're on top of the world. It's our celebration. And for some of us, this might be the biggest thing we ever accomplish. And that calls for a celebration. And for the rest of us, this is only just the first step. And that calls for a celebration. So celebrate today as it is, when we have each other. A wise man once said, "After all, the past and the future are both just made up of an infinite amount of right nows." I said that. Thank you.
I see students leave here that I've come to know and appreciate. In this class, I remember the neon t-shirts from Highlighter Homecoming. I remember constantly filling the jar on my desk with gummy bears, Cassie. Our conversations about work cars and other sillier and rewarding topics. I'm also going to remember Shay's speech. That's probably the best speech I've heard in a commencement in my entire career.